everybody, 5 days ago I put up a community post asking you guys to ask your most asked questions about League of Legends so that I could then go through and ask them. So here we are 5 days later, and I'm not sure how YouTube organizes this because some posts with more likes are down here and some posts with less likes are up here. I don't know if downvotes or replies or relevancy. I don't know how it does this, but at either rate, I'm going to trust YouTube's system and I'm going to go through the top and the bottom and we're going to answer your most asked questions about League of Legends. So the top one is, what do you want the next top lane champion to look like? And I'm assuming he means like their kit, not, like what physically do they look like? I've looked through these questions to at least kind of get a decent idea of how I'll answer them. Apparently he's supposed to be a tank top laner, but that's pretty vague. Champs like Sion and Ornn have the same roles but play completely differently. So, okay, here's the thing. I don't consider myself like a bruiser player, a tank player, a juggernaut player, a bully player. I don't like an auto attack player. I don't really think of myself like that. Like, so long as the champion is fun, I'll play them. Even like a champion like Maokai, people look at Maokai and they'll say, how is he fun? He doesn't do any damage. Well, have you ever wanted to just be really, really, really tanky and heal a lot and do a lot of CC and just set people up to die to your team? That like you can play Maokai and have like a fed Vayne or something and you just constantly CC people and Q slap them into Vayne and Vayne kills them. Like, yeah, that can be fun. So what do I like the next champion to look like? I would just want them to be fun. If it's a tank, then give me a fun tank. Give me something like Sion or Ornn or Maokai. I mean, preferably something like Sion. I think Sion's probably the most fun tank I played. But yeah, give me something fun, interesting, dynamic. Don't give me a champion who just does the same combo over and over, never changes anything. A champion who's just gonna end up being boring, to say the least. I mean, I think the most interesting champions are champions that they have maybe they have like a target combo, or maybe they have something they want to do, but their opponents can react to it. So then you have to react to them reacting to what you do. So, you have to change up your gameplay and your style, and each fight feels like a different fight and is unique. I don't like champions like, let's say, I can get pretty bored of a champion like Renekton, where 90% of what you're going to do is Prowler's Claw into Rage W. Did it kill them? Yay! Like, that can get really boring and old, because it's just like, you're just stat checking people. You're not doing anything new or creative or interesting. Even a champion like Maokai, when are you going to use your W? When are you going to use your Q? Can you throw E's into the brush and run around them? Like, when a champion's more diverse and dynamic, I mean, that's a good way to do it. When a champion dynamically can change what they're doing on the fly to get better results, I think that's when they're going to be more fun. Would you ever be open to coaching, like looking at someone's games on top and giving your opinions on them, seeing how low-ranked players have a rough time applying high-ranked skills? Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, so I have done coaching in the past and I am open to the idea, but the first thing I want to say is the reason I've never really pushed the idea of it is I don't really know if I'm a good coach or not. To be blunt, I don't know if I'm a good coach or not. And so it's awkward for me to say like, yeah, give me $50, because like my time is valuable. Sorry, give me $50. I'll look over your VOD. I'll, prepare a video and stuff like that. Sure, I'll make a video and, then for $50 it would probably work, right? Because then I could have the video and, I could make money on that too. So, but then the awkward part for me becomes like, am I even good at coaching? Is this worth my time? Like, I'm imagining in my head, like I make a video and all the comments are like, dude, you're the dumbest piece of shit on the planet. This guy paid $50 for this. Kill yourself, you loser. Like that's how I imagine it going out. And everyone looks at me and he's like, this man's a fraud. You're a fraud. You're a terrible coach. Like, yeah, I'm open to the idea. I've pushed the idea in the past. No one's taken me up on the offer. Like, tentatively, I'm like, look, give me $50. I'll make give me a VOD or something I can go over. Yeah, I'll make a video and I'll go over your stuff. I'll try to be nice. I'm not saying I'm gonna be nice, but I'll try to be nice. But again, it's just like, I've never pushed the idea. I'm open to it. I've never pushed the idea because I don't want to it's like somebody asked me can you fix my piping? I'm like, look, you can give me money, but I'm not good at piping. Okay. Your pipes might not look the best after I take a wrench to them. Okay. But I'm willing to try. What was your champion pool back in season 1? Any build to remember using? Okay, so there was season 1, which was the ranked season, but before that was before ranked. Now, I think the game came out a year before they implemented ranked. I'm pretty sure ranked 1, or sorry, season 1 was ranked season 1, right? And so that would have been when I'd already been playing the game for about a year, because I think it took about a year for them to apply rank. So when the game came out, I was trying a whole bunch of different champions because I was just bad at everything, to be blunt. I tried Udyr, Nasus, Malphite, Anivia, Cassid. I tried so many different champions, and I was just bad with everything. I actually put money into the game, and I was buying different champions. So when the game launched free to play, I was one of the suckers who helped, push it, because I was like, I think I put in like 40 or some money. I was just trying to buy like different champions because I was just like, I suck at everything. I was one of these people who like constantly tries out different champions because I'm like, oh, maybe they're really good. Maybe that's who I'm good at. Maybe that's my secret pick. And obviously, you can't get good at a champion by just playing them a few times, right? So I was just going champion to champion, feeding every game with my friends. But during season 1, I'm pretty sure I played Jax, and so the thing, I've told this story before. The reason I started playing Jax originally is because I got my ass kicked back when rune pages were a thing. Some dude just shoved damage into his rune page, and only damage. And that was back when Jax got health off damage. So what he would do is he would only put damage in his rune page, and Jax's Q and W both used to scale on damage back then. And so what he would do is he would put everything into damage, he would get a bunch of health from the damage, then he would just QW on top of you, he would just leap strike with Empower on top of you, then run away. And he would just leap strike with Empower and then run away. Leap strike with and that's why eventually, if you wonder why right now Jax's W doesn't have an AD ratio, it's because they removed it because of this stupid build. So any build to remember using, yeah, that was the build. And you would have Jax level 1 with like 700 HP, and that's before the durability update. Level 1 with like 700 HP, doing like 200 damage by just leap strike and powering on you over and over. And yeah, so hey Hash, good day. Perhaps in the minority on this one, but really appreciating your way of explaining things. I would really favor a video of explaining what most the different stats in League of Legends actually mean and how they interact with each other, what an AD and AP ratio is. Despite this being a common thing to already know, I think you bringing it to light with your way of explaining would be sort of refreshing in all honesty. That's an interesting idea for a video, in all honesty. I know he just said that, but I'm going to copy him and say in all honesty again. I think that's an interesting idea for a video, just to like go over like the page, like the stat page, like in game when you hold C and the stats come up down there. I think it would be an interesting idea to just go through it and be like, here's what attack damage is, here's what ability power is, because like the thing is, a lot of people know this because they've played the game for so long, but a lot of people don't know it. And because League has a shit tutorial, and because a lot of the information in League, like, oh, we know because we know, right? Like obviously everyone knows what ability power is and everyone knows what attack damage is. Oh, we know that, of course, right? But like, what is an AP ratio? An AP ratio is a ratio that scales off ability power. What is an AD ratio? It's a ratio that scales off attack damage. What is the difference these days? Basically nothing. And that's the thing, like, people have been playing for years and years. They probably remember when most champions had total AP ratios, when there was like no such thing as an AD ratio, right? Because AP scales your abilities, AD makes your auto attacks better, right? But like nowadays, well, you have champions like Talon and Zed who scale all their shit off attack damage. So like, are they, why aren't they AP then, right? Because they do all their damage with abilities. Well, that's just how the game is, right? So for a lot of people, these are sort of like archaic, almost outdated mechanics that you wouldn't even know. That if you were new to the game, you'd probably be sitting here being like stumped in your head, like, why does AP even exist if AD scales your abilities? I mean, to us, you'd say, oh, well, that's so your auto attacks don't do as much damage and blah, 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 right? Like to you, that makes sense. But to some people, it just feels like a weird, out of date, not even out of date. It just feels like a weird nonsense mechanic, right? Things like ability haste, I'm sure, confuse some people right now. What's the difference between Omnivamp and Lifesteal? These things matter, and they're not really explained that well. They're kind of explained, but and yeah. So to be blunt, yeah, that's a decent idea for a video. You're the best LOL streamer and content creator. The world wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you, Robert Hampton. It's been a couple of years since I played League of Legends, but I still follow your channel. In the past 2 to 3 years, what is your least favorite change and most favorite change has happened in League? Least favorite change is the Ignite buff. When they pushed Ignite to 60% healing debuff, top lane has never recovered from that. The genie's out of the bottle on Ignite, so to speak. Like, before that change, a lot of people wouldn't go Ignite because it just wasn't fashionable. If you went to Ignite in top lane, everyone was like, well, he's just going to lose to teleport, right? When they buffed Ignite from 40% to 60% healing debuff, and it's back to 40% now, but the thing is, genie's out of the bottle. Everyone knows that if I go Ignite and you don't go Ignite, that I can force all-ins, I can force trades, I will force you into situations where I will automatically win the game and probably snowball the game out, right? And so I automatically win the lane and then snowball the game out, right? And so that is probably my least favorite change of all time, because it has fundamentally fucked over top lane. And for the longest time, every healing champion needed to be buffed because they were all monstrously underpowered. It was so bad for the game. It was probably the worst thing Riot has ever done for game health, to just randomly as fuck. And the thing was, it wasn't even in a patch note. They literally just woke up one day and they were like, Ignite is now a 60% healing debuff. And that was it. It was just Ignite is now a 60% healing debuff. What was the fucking point of that, right? And eventually, again, they reverted it. Now it's back to 40%. But what was the point of making it for like, what was it? It was like 2 years. It was 60%, just destroying all game balance for zero reason. Nothing was gained. It just fucked over the game for no reason. What's my most favorite change? Honestly, probably the durability update is my most favorite change. I feel like the game, a lot of people don't notice it, but I notice it because I've been playing the game for a long time. The game feels a lot better now. There's so, like, you very, very rarely just sort of instantly explode. Yeah, you can get stun locked to death. Yeah, you can get one shot, but like, very rarely, if ever these days, do you ever have situations like LeBlanc just W's into QR and you're just dead. Like literally LeBlanc just W's out of a brush on top of you, QR, and you're just dead from full. Like, shit like that, it can still happen if they get fed enough, if you don't build any magic resist and they're level 18 and shit like that. But like, it doesn't really happen anymore. It used to be, like, before the durability update, it was so frequent that assassins would literally just one-shot you from a brush, from stealth, just literally run down the lane and one-shot you in some situations. Champions like Diana would just ER. They didn't even need to hit their Q. It would just ER and you're just fucking dead. So that's probably my most favorite change. What could Riot do to make top lane less counter pick meta? Honestly, just stop buffing champions to be counter picks. It would really be that simple. If Fiora is underpowered, don't buff her parry, don't buff her Q cooldown, don't make her even better into the champions she's doing good into. Who is Fiora doing bad into? Right? Like, why not buff her into who she's doing bad into? It would really honestly be that simple, because yeah, I mean, do I really need to go on and explain this more? Is Fiora doing bad into mages early game? Then give her 4 more base magic resist. Don't buff parry, because win rate is just, remember, win rate is just all your win rates against every champion, every matchup combined. So if you're matching up into mages really bad, giving them 4 more magic resist can make Fiora's win rate higher, make her a more balanced champion, right? It can do that while not affecting the champions she's already doing good into. By buffing parry a couple years ago, it means that if you lose to Fiora, you could just get absolutely smashed into the dirt. But if you beat Fiora, it didn't really impact you, because the champions that beat Fiora 90% of the time are champions that can just kite out her parry, not get hit by it. Champions like Kennen and Jace, etc. Also, suggestions to make it more fun and less frustrating to main compared to other lane/jungle. Well, that one is just a continuation. Counterpick meta. Counterpick meta is probably the biggest thing that makes people not enjoy top lane, period. More scaling, less 100 to 0 meta champions or something else. I mean, again, durability they basically removed the 100 to 0 champions. I mean, yeah, you still have stuff like Fiora and Riven doing that, but they're special. Riot just says they're special, so fuck you. But no, I think removing counterpick meta would be a good start. I think another thing, in all honesty, would be to delay dragons, maybe delay dragon by like 2-3 minutes, so that you can't, like, right now, maybe delay dragon by like 4 minutes, but in return, make it take 1 less minute to respawn, something like that. Because right now, you can lose 2 dragons before you can even reasonably get out of top lane. And so because of that, it means that top lane, like if you're down an Infernal Dragon and a Mountain Dragon, it can just, you don't really notice it because it's just like a passive buff to your team, but even being down 2 dragons can basically set the game up for failure. If you like 100-0 the opposing team in a mega team fight combo, sure, you're not going to notice it. But if you have like a scrappy team fight, or you have a team fight where both teams are playing well, yeah, a Mountain Dragon and an Infernal Dragon are going to be the deciding factor. So if your team just lost those dragons and you were just sitting top lane and you were fighting something like Teemo or Quinn and you couldn't possibly get a lead, you couldn't possibly do anything, then yeah, you're going to be frustrated and you're going to realize that through no fault of your own, you did well. You didn't die to Teemo. It doesn't matter. Your team is losing. You have lost. The game is over. Yeah. Now the item rework has been out for a while. What are your thoughts on it? Was it good or bad for the game? Any old new items you want to see in the future? I'm going to be dead honest. I don't really care. Gore Drinker's fun to use, but I understand it can be really imbalanced. Eclipse is too much of a do-everything item. I don't really like how Kraken Slayer is just like the damage item. Like, Kraken Slayer is actually really bad for the game, I've come to realize, because it doesn't do anything interesting. Gale Force is also a bit of an issue. Honestly, all the 80 carry items are a bit of an issue. I don't know. Overall, I'd say it was probably fine, though. Like, even the items, like, even when I say the 80 carry items have been an issue, it's not like they're game breaking. I mean, they're fine, right? Like, I don't really care that much. I wouldn't really want to see any of the old items back. Everyone always talks about, like, Rod of Ages. If you remember, Rod of Ages just gave you health, ability power, and mana. That was it. It was an item. If you guys ever hear anyone talking about Rod of Ages, and they're like, oh my god, I love Rod of Ages. Why did Riot kill it? If they brought it back, the game would be so much better. Imagine an item that just gives you a bunch of stats. That's all it does. Your character is now tankier with more mana, and they do more ability damage. That's it. That's the entire item. Just stats. It's just big stat stick, the item. Now, most of these old items were just giga stat buffs that really didn't do much for the game. Frozen Heart, not Frozen Heart, what's that other one? Frozen Mallet was shit for the game and was never balanced. Gunblade always just ended up being the Akali and Katarina healing funny time item. Rod of Ages just was really boring, and it only ever got built if it was overpowered, so that just made it really, really, really boring. There's still some items that are like stat sticky, like Black Cleaver is a bit of a stat stick, but like the thing is, at least Black Cleaver is like gameplay things to do. Like it does something. It's not just stats, the item, right? A lot of these old items that got removed that people miss, like old Phantom Dancer. Old Phantom Dancer was just a stat stick. Yeah, the new one is still stat sticky, but that's the thing. It's like stat stick adjacent. It's not a stat stick. You know, it still has like the 4 auto attacks, and then you get the bonus stuff, right? Like, it's doing something. Most of the items that were removed were just, yeah. I just have one question. How are you nowadays? I know it's not about League, but I think it's important to keep up the good content. I mean, I'm fine. What changes do you think Riot needs to make? Changes do you think Riot's going to make to the world's meta? Do you think it's going to be similar to last year where they nerfed a bunch of dominating ADCs? They did nerf a bunch of the dominating ADCs again, and they buffed up a bunch of the weaker ones again. But I mean, it's hard. Like, I can't really say, because like if Riot wants to come out tomorrow and be like, we're doubling Kai'Sa's Q damage because fuck you. Kai'Sa needs to sell more KDA skins before Worlds. Sorry, like if Riot wants to do that, they can do that. I can't stop them. The fact that they're deciding to buff Kassadin and they're deciding to buff, like they did in fact buff Graves, like I can't stop them from doing that. Graves was top tier and then they buffed him, and now Graves is just like pick ban again. Like I can't stop them from doing that. It's stupid, and like I would, even if I joked, even if I was like, Riot would never buff Graves because he's top tier, why would they do that? Like, even if I made a joke like that, like they ended up doing it. So okay, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a meme in the community that once some content creator mentions about playing League, there'd be a lot of people trying to stop them from even touching the game. Especially with the success of Arcane, people would say you can like League lore, videos, animation, music, but never ever play the game. In a serious take, is a longtime player and loves League. Does that offend you? How would you react to them if you ever heard them say that? I mean, older League players are already quitting because, of course, as we age, we tend to like different things as well as games. It's not the game's fault. And I feel like this is the right time for new players to join in, but these people are just a hindrance of League attracting newer players. I hope we talk about this, as I never seen any huge League content creator tackle this subject, but instead play their part of the meme. I think it would just discourage small and newer League content creator to do content if there's no younger and new players that are coming to League. This is probably worthy of making its own video. I'm going to be honest, this is actually like an actual serious issue. To try to best summarize this in a way, because I'm kind of getting tired. I only want to do like 2 or 3 more questions here. I might do a video on this topic alone, because yeah, I actually think this is probably the most interesting question that's been asked here. But I would say a lot of people need to quit League if they're no longer enjoying it. Because if you're no longer enjoying League, you're making yourself miserable. And more importantly, you're making all of us miserable. You whiny little bitch. Get the fuck out of the game and stop sitting in queue. Their team is too strong. Just sitting there in champions like, someone needs to judge. This is an auto loss. Why are we even playing? Like, getting into a game, it's like 0-1 in 8 minutes. FF15, this is unwinnable. Everyone on my team is dogs. Like, those people, please just quit League, man. Like, you're not enjoying it, and you're not making us enjoy it, and you're going around shit talking the game because you're not having any fun, so you assume no one else is having any fun. I would have a lot more fun in League, even as a top laner. I would, if I didn't get people just griefing so many games. And even today, I've had people soft in games. And the thing is, so many people soft in on like both teams at this point, that even if your team has a soft enter, the opposing team likely has a soft enter counteracting that. I mean, how many times have you guys won games because, like, oh, your Draven is 0-1 and he's going, my support is a dog. Everyone is bad. I'm on my Smurf, I'm 600 LP challenger. I don't even like, you guys are bad. And they're like, they just like go mid, and so like the mid laner goes to bot because they're like, fuck it, I'll just go bot, right? Like, let Draven solo mid, and then somehow you end up winning that game because, oh, their team had an Aurelia who went 0-1 and she's typing, my jungler is a dog, everyone is bad at this game, and you know, she isn't really trying anymore, so she goes like 0-6, just running all ins and dying, and oh, you end up winning the game. Like how many, be honest with yourself, how many times has that happened? It happens a lot. So please, instead of shit talking the game, instead of telling everyone it's awful, especially after the durability update where the game is better than it's ever been, please just quit the game and move on with your life. What do you think is the fix or talk blind? I've already talked about that. I don't really want to go into that one again. None of these have any likes. Okay, I'll get the one with 4 likes, and that'll be my last one. I don't understand what makes Bladed Run King a fair item. So often I see in my death that half the someone's damage is this item alone. I guess it's fair because they are not nerfing it, but I don't understand how. I don't think it's like super balanced, but to be blunt, the reason that it's not as overpowered as people think it is, and the reason why too many people force it, one, it falls off as the game progresses. Like, if you're actually building Blade of the Rune King and you're actually trying to like kill people, the thing is, as the game progresses and it moves on, fights get faster, people start getting more damage, synergies start kicking in, the lethality plus armor pen builds start, you know, synergizing and more, and they start one-shotting people. The death cap void staff comes online, the mages start one-shotting people. Going on hit just doesn't scale that well, not really. And so Blade of the Rune King will eventually fall off as the game progresses. The other issue is that Blade of the Rune King has no ability haste, it has no health, it has no armor, magic resist, none of that stuff. It's just damage. And because it's just damage, it actually can lose 1v1 to some other items, and it can often not lane as well as some other items, and in particular, its build path is really, really bad. So unless you're snowballing, the Blade of the Rune King build path can often mean that you're going to be left with a bunch of shit components. Are you playing Renekton? Then you can end up, you know, being put into a weird situation where you need to build attack speed or Vampiric, which you don't really want as Renekton. You'd rather have like a lethality, you'd rather have a serrated dirk, not pickaxe, right? If you're playing Jax, then you don't, again on Jax doesn't really get to stand in the minion wave, so having Vampiric often doesn't do that much for him, because he's pure melee. If he ever touches a minion wave, he gets auto-attacked, right? So he goes to the minion wave, tries to lifesteal off it, and the opposing champion just bullies him, and he ends up losing more health, so it doesn't tend to actually be that good. So I would say those are its two big issues. Yeah. What's my opinion of the Dr. Mundo rework? I might do a video on that, but not now. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope that answered at least some of your questions. If this is successful, I'll do this again. If you guys like this, I'll do this again. But, yeah. So, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. If you guys enjoyed this video and you enjoyed listening to this and talking about this, then make sure to join my Patreon. You can see the link in the description down below. And you can join my Patreon for as little as $3 a month. You can support me and, help continue to make more of these videos possible and allow me to eat more. Special shout out to my YouTube members. You guys can see them down below in the comments, always posting funny emotes. Thank you to anyone who just makes it this far in the video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts or anything like that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.